That means mind produce materialities will bring 4 types of materiality, one place to another place, because of pushing. The meditator must know the mental process that produce the body intimation. Okay, here one more thing. When we are going to, we must know the mental process that produce the body intimation. It's very simple, but here I just use some Pali word from the. So when we go and read the commentary, I just change some Pali words because they just use the pronouns, right? In the when we go and read original commentary, they will use pronouns. So I just change to the noun. Titan Vayanjaneti. Okay? So that means the mind produces the wind. Okay, although we say the mind produces the wind, it means the mental process will produce the wind. This is the first steps we have to know. So what kind of mental process produce? Of course, we wish to move. It wish to move, this is the mind. Then it will mental process. The mental process will produce the winds. So vayo vinyati injaneti. The winds produce the intimation. So the winds will force to move. Then all the materialities will arise in different places. Will arise in different places. This is called vayo vinyati injaneti. So this is really called body intimation. So when we are going to move forwards, we must know the mental process that produce the wind elements. But we also have to know that when all elements produce the movement, we can also say intimation. This is called a big kande going forwards. Then we also have to know the mental process in detail. Okay, among the 7 impulsions that produce the wind, the first 6 impulsions support the materiality to be stable. Here we just say upatamaka hetu in Pali. So I have already said there will be mental process. In every single mental process, we have 7 impulsions. This is actually when we're going to move, this is our daily life. Right? Then it can be like a mental process. Then there will be 7 impulsions. So the first 6 were supposed to be stable, and the last impulsion produces a movement we call janaka hetu. So this is the statement. So we have many things to explain in this part. Similarly, patikante coming back. It should be the same. Right? When we come back also, there will be mental process that produces the wind. The wind will produce the intimation, the movement. Then in the mental process, there will be upatamaka hetu, the supporting cause. There will be janaka hetu, producing cause. Okay, now alokati, relocati. Actually, we also have to know. Oh, sorry. Alokite, relocate, it should be right. Alokite, relocate, sorry. Alokite, relocate. Looking ahead or looking aside. Actually, these are also the mentalities. When we are going to look ahead, so we have wish to look ahead. This is also mental process. So because of that mental process, it will produce the wind element. Then we will look ahead. Our face will turn ahead, right? Then then there will be eye-mental process. We will see something, we will have eye-mental process. What about turning our face, or maybe moving our eyes? This is also body intimation. So it also produced by consciousness. We can say DHAMMA, right? That means the mental process will produce the wind element. The wind elements will produce movement. We look at the side. So when we turn our face, then this will be when elements force our face turn here and there, turn around. Then there will be body intimation. This is just very simple things. Again, right? While there is also like a material element discern the aggregates, bases, elements, and conditions. Here I just summarize all the things. We must discern aggregates, bases, elements, and conditions. I don't remember how many times I have explained different conditions of meditators. The Buddha gave different instructions: aggregate methods, 5 aggregate methods, 12 base methods, 18 elements methods. Not only that, when we talk about cause and effect relationship, different originations, patana, according to listeners' conditions, the Buddha explains many different ways of practice. So, okay, now we should talk about Panda aggregates. When we look ahead or look aside, we may have eye-mental process. When we have eye-mental process, eye translucency and visible object are the material aggregates. So eye translucency alone cannot arise. It will arise together with coexistent materialities. There will be 10 types of materialities together with including the eye translucency. In the eye translucency, one of the translucent clapas, there will be 4 elements: the color, the smell, the taste, nutritive essence, life faculties. After that, eye translucency. So 10 materiality arise together. This is called eye translucency. So when we say aggregates, that means a group. If eye translucency arises alone, we cannot say a group. We cannot say aggregates, right? They arise as a group. That's why they are called aggregates. Visible objects. So visible object can be the color. The color alone cannot arise. It will arise together with coexistent materialities. Okay, one more thing here. Visible object can be living beings, also can be non-living things. If living beings, there can be many different types of rupa klapas. For example, as a human being, we have many different types of rupa klapas. Okay. Similarly, when we have like a non-living things, there can be also many different types of rupa klapas. They also arise as a group. That's why they are called aggregates. So briefly, we can understand eye translucency and visible objects are material aggregates. The associated mental factors, feeling is feeling aggregates. So here, one more thing that we have to explain about feeling. Feeling alone cannot arise. It will arise together with many other mentalities. Then they will arise together. They will take the same objects. They will perish together. They were based on the same. They will arise depending on the same base. They are called associated mental factors. That's why the mentality led by feeling is called feeling aggregate. The associated mental factor perception is perception aggregates. Perception alone cannot arise. It will arise together with other associated mentalities. Okay, as we have said in feeling aggregates, perception aggregate also group of mentalities led by perception. Contact, phassa. Sometimes we can also say like a Chirana, volition, and remaining mental factors are formation aggregates. So these are mentalities, especially mental factors. Unconsciousness is consciousness aggregates. Unconsciousness alone cannot arise. It will arise together with 7 universals, a group of mentalities. Then they are also called aggregates. So that means 7 universals led by consciousness is called consciousness aggregate. So the 11 categories of aggregates have been mentioned before. So we have already mentioned many things about 11 categories, right? For example, present, past, future, internal, external, inferior, superior, gross and subtle, far and near. We have all these types of materialities. So these are called aggregates. When we are going to practice vipassana or to overcome wrong view, for purification of the view, we need to know 5 aggregates. So in the very beginning, we have to know all types of mentalities. After that, we can divide into different aggregates. Okay, now we have to continue ayatana, basis. So there will be many different types of basics according to ayatana. Oh, one more thing here. Sometimes people just understand eyes as a concept. For example, when we talk about chakku, mostly people understand as eyes. That's why when we use Pali word chakku, right? That's why eye is impermanent. Eye is also anicca, something like that. People misunderstand like that. Actually, it doesn't mean the eyes, flesh eyes. It just means intranscendency. So the eye is only concepts, right? Many types of materiality arise in the eyes. They are just concepts. If we get no ultimate reality in the eyes, it will be the subject for meditations, especially the subject of vipassana. Okay, now, while looking ahead, the eye transcendency is eye base. We call Chakkayatana in Pali. So I have already mentioned eye transcendency cannot arise alone. It will arise together with coexistent materialities or corporeality. The visible object is visual base. So I already mentioned visible object can be living things, non-living things. According to these 2 different objects, there can be different types of materialities. For example, for human being, we may have kamaja rupas, chitja rupas, uduja rupas, harja rupas. For non-living things, it can be uduja rupas. It will be 2 different things. The eye consciousness is consciousness base. Then all other associated mental factors are Dhamma base. These are Ayana method. Just an example, eye translucency. We can also understand air translucency, node translucency, time translucency, body translucency, also heart materialities. It can be bases. Actually, every single rupas we have already learned in DHAMMA in the or about 28 types of materialities, right? We can basis. It depends on the condition we have. So these are the ayana methods. We have different conditions of meditators. That's why the Buddha gives different instructions. For those who have very clear in Rupa discernment, so those who have very strong delusions in Nama discernment, the Buddha will talk about 5 aggregate methods. For those who have very strong delusions in the mentalities, weak delusions in mentality, the Buddha will use Salana methods. Now we have Dhatu methods, elements methods. It's not much different from previous ayana. When looking ahead, the iron translucency is the iron element. The visual object is the visual element. The iron consciousness is the consciousness element. All other associated mental factors are Dhamma elements. It's a little bit similar to ayana. So there are many other ways we have to know about the practice. So for those who have very strong delusions in Nama Rupas, Buddha will teach Dhatu methods. So we have 3 methods already. Aggregate, Khanda, for those who have very strong delusions in mentality. Adana, for those very strong delusions in materialities. Dhatu, for those who have very strong delusions in both mentalities and materialities. The Buddha gives different instructions to different meditators according to their conditions, their delusions, and their discernment. Okay, now we have to explain something about Patthana according to all these conditions. Then here we just say very simple things, right? If I cannot explain very much in detail because it will be too messy for new learners. That's why I just say very simple things. Okay, when we see or when we are looking ahead or looking aside, then what types of mentalities, what types of Patthana conditions do we have? This is actually for our cause and effect relationship. So compared to dependent originations, Patthana is more messy, more difficult. But anyway, now we can make everything simple. The iron translucency is a supporting condition, Nisaya Pachayo. You know already Nisaya Pachayo, right? In the case of Nisaya Pachayo, there is also meant Chakha Yaranam, Chakunyana Dhatuya, Nisaya Pachayana Pachayo. So this parts will be applying here. The visual object will be the object conditions, Aramana Pachayo. So in the Patthana, we can find Rupa Yaranam, Chakunyana Dhatuya, Aramana Pachayana Pachayo. You can understand this part here. The advancing consciousness is continuity conditions and so forth. This is Anandara type. So actually there are many parts in Anandara types. For example, when we are going to talk about Purima, Abhyagata, Dhamma, Pachimana, Abhyagata, Dhammana, Anandara Pachena Pachayo. It covers phyto-advancing consciousness and unconsciousness. Phyto-advancing consciousness is a preceding one, preceding mind moments. Unconsciousness is succeeding mind moments. They are Anandara type, continuity type. When we say continuity, then okay, I should use Pali what easier for you, right? Anandara Pachayo, Samanandara Pachayo, it will be the same. When we go and read in Upanisaya Pachayo, we can also find the same. That Nati Pachayo, Vikata Pachayo, they are the same. All the thing will be, all the condition will be here. Okay, in reality, here I just mentioned advancing consciousness is continuity conditions and so forth. I just say so forth, right? Because it will be very wide. I have to explain all types of mind moments in the mental process. Preceding one and succeeding one, they are Anandara type. Whenever we talk about Anandara type, you must understand at least 5 conditions. Anandara, Samanandara, Upanisaya, Ati, Vigata. Sorry, Nati, Vigata. Okay, so these 5 conditions at least. In the case of impulsion mind moments, there can be Asevana Pachayot again. That's why it will be very wide. But here we just talk about looking ahead or looking aside. Here we just pick up only unconscious mind moments. That's why here I just say very simple things. Again, the light is powerful supporting conditions. Upanisaya Pachayo. Why is the Upanisaya Pachayo? When we go and study Upanisaya Pachayo, you will find Purima, Kusala, Dhamma, Pachimana, Kusala, Dhamma, and so forth. At the end, it will mention Udu Bhojanambi, Pugalobi, Senasanambi, right? These conditions. So, although it's just mentioned very simple, Udu Bhojanambi, Pugalobi, Senasanambi, actually, there are many other force supporting conditions. The light, it comes from our body also possible. It comes from external. It comes from external supporting cause. So anyway, it can be Upanisaya Pachayo. Then all mental factors are associating conditions. Samyutta Pachayo. Here I just say very simple way, Samyutta Pachayo, right? But in reality, whenever we talk about Samyutta Pachayo, we can also say Sahajara Pachayo, Anyamanya Pachayo. We can also say, right? Nisaya Pachayo. He mentioned Nisaya Pachayo also. They are called all the mental factors that arise together with unconsciousness. This is according to Patana. We have to know. This is also cause and effect relationship. Also, when we talk about dependent origination, it can be only cause and effects. In the case of Patana, the cause, the effect, and the condition. That is why when we are going to say looking ahead or looking aside, we must know all types of mentalities, different conditions. It can be Khanda, Ayana, Dhatu. Not only that, when we are going to talk about cause and effect relationship, it can be Patana, it can be dependent originations. It depends on the power we are practicing. So if we say briefly, when we are walking or standing or sitting or lying or any daily activities, any movements, we can discern all types of mentalities and materialities. Then we can divide into Khanda, aggregates, Ayana, bases, Dhatu, elements. Also we can discern Patana. This is also called clear comprehension. Okay, now we will talk about clear comprehension a little bit in detail again. He adds with clear comprehensions when bending, stretching. He adds with clear comprehensions when carrying the outer robes and bowl. And he adds with clear comprehensions when eating, drinking, chewing, and savoring. He adds with clear comprehension when defecating, urinating. And he adds with clear comprehensions when walking, standing, sitting, falling asleep, waking up, talking, and keeping silent. These are the statements we can find in Satipatthana Sutta. Although we say very briefly, very simply, for example, when bending or stretching, right? We stretch our hands. This is also one element. We already mentioned, right? When elements, the mental process will produce when elements will produce movement, intimation. So we have to know all types of aggregates. And also bases, elements, and patana conditions in every single movement. He acts with clear comprehension when carrying the outer robe and bowl. This for bhikkhu, right? So we bhikkhu have to carry our upper robe, lower, then we have to wear lower robe, upper robe, also we have to carry double robe, we have to carry bowls. At the time also we must know mind produce, mental process produce one element produce movement. In every single movement, there will be 5 aggregates. There will be bases, elements, and patana. Again, he acts with clear comprehension when eating, drinking, chewing, savoring. Actually, all are like movements. He acts with clear comprehension when defecating, urinating. This is also movement. He acts with clear comprehension when walking, standing, sitting. Actually, standing and sitting can be stable, but anyway, this also body intimation, produced by mind. Falling asleep, waking up, talking, keeping silent. So this will be clear comprehensions. So before falling asleep, we will know. After falling asleep, we cannot know anymore, right? When we wake up, we can know again. So we must know all these aggregates. We can say namarupas, aggregates, bases, elements, also different originations of patana. So briefly, when we talk about going or walking or sitting or lying down, every daily activities, we must know namarupa systematically, 5 aggregates systematically, bases, elements systematically, after that, different originations of patana systematically. In the case of purifications of the view, if we wish to overcome, right, wrong view, we must know all types of mentalities in detail. Okay, now again, I just talk about, right, the Venerable Buddha's case, Anubbara Sutta in brief. I just copy from Anubbara Sutta. Venerable Buddha entered jhana and emerging from jhanas. He discerned jhana dhamma. He could discern 16 materialities clearly. They are sukha, sati. Okay, here one more than sati, right? 1. Then also samajjanya, chitikakata, phassa, vedana, sanya, chedana, chitta, chanda, adhimokkha, viriya, sati. Sati repeating 2 times. I suspect that one, right? Maybe there will be some other replacement. That's why I just make 1, 2. Ubakha and manasikara. Okay, this is the parts we have to know. Ubakha and manasikara, right? These are, already I mentioned, 16 types of mentalities. So he could see all the 16 clearly in every single mind moment. Every single jhana mind moment. Anubbara Sutta is very wide. It mentioned whenever Sariputta entered the first jhana, also mentioned very, very long process. After that, emerging from it, there's some first jhana mentalities. Similarly, in the second jhana, emerging from it, there's some second jhana mentalities. Enter the third jhana, emerging from it, there's some third jhana mentalities. Enter into fourth jhana, emerging from it, there's some fourth jhana mentalities. Not only that, immaterial jhana, Akasanancha, boundless space, boundless consciousness, also nothingness jhana. 3 immaterial jhanas, except in the last one, neither perception nor non-perception. So among the 8 attainments, he entered into 7 attainments. And also imagine from each of them, the descent, the mentalities. These are just statements we can find in Anubbara Sutta. But we have to check in detail. According to, okay, if we summarize in detail, Buddha also, or the Venerable Sariputta also can discern all of them and their characteristics, their function, also their manifestation, and the prosmic cause. We have already mentioned everything in detail in our previous talks. I don't know how many talks I have to explain about it. Then, Venerable Sariputta having thoroughly discerns those states of those mental states and also know their characteristics. Okay, now the next one is the characteristics, right? I just mentioned briefly. So now Vitakka, applying thoughts, has characteristic of directing the mind. So we have already talked about Vitakka, right? Mostly people understand Vitakka means thoughts. That means when they have a thought, this is called Vitakka, they misunderstand. And in the case of meditation, it's not the thoughts. It's directing the mind to go and see or to know the object. This is called applying thoughts. So be careful. Vichara also sustained thoughts. Mostly people understand Vichara as like investigations or analyzing something. But in reality, Vichara means sustained thoughts. Vichara will apply or direct the mind to know the object. Vichara will sustain to keep knowing it. So here the character is a meaning. So people can misunderstand because is a meaning, right? In reality, not really is a meaning. That means like sustaining. PT, rapture, has the character of feeling. So that means it will infect all over the body. It will make rejoice, join all over the body. Sukha, pleasure, has the characteristic of soothing. You have already know what is really called sukha, right? Sukha means pleasant feeling all over the body. This is also a kind of mental state. Right? When we feel something pleasant in our body, we like it, right? This is also called sukha. Sometimes we translate like a bliss. Anyway, we can also continue another one. Ekakata. One-pointedness of mind has the characteristic of non-destruction. So that means it will keep knowing only one object. It cannot be distracted by anything. This is called ekakata. If we have distractions, we cannot know one object all the time. Sampasa, contact, has the characteristic of touching. Okay, one more thing. Yeah, touching means we not touching like a hand or something, right? It's not physical touch, only mentally touch. We have already talked about it before, especially when we talk about mentalities. When we see somebody eating lemon, right? It's a little bit sour one, right? Then it will, right? We will saliva will gather in our mouth, right? This is it. We don't touch lemon, but mentally we touch it. That's why saliva gather inside our mouth. This is called phassa, mentally touch. Again, Vedana, feeling, has the character of experiencing. Actually, feeling also can be like a sukha. We already mentioned sukha, right? Sukha also feeling. There are many other sukha. According to Mahasatipatthana Sutta, it mentioned 9 types of feeling. Right? But here, if we say according to Abhidhamma, it can be sukha, dukkha, adukama sukha. Sukha means pleasant, adukha means unpleasant. Adukama sukha means neither pleasant nor unpleasant. This is called Vedana, feeling. Sanya, perception, has the characteristic of recognizing because of the perceiving the object or marking the object. Chetana, volition has the characteristic of intending. We can also say reinforcing associated mental factors. Then vijnana, consciousness, has the characteristic of knowing. This is very clear already. The vijnana consciousness will know just roughly, generally. It cannot differentiate good and bad. Then we have another part, chanda. Desire has the characteristic of wanting. Right? So that means desire has the characteristic of wanting means this is a mere wish. Adhimaka, determination has the characteristic of resolving. So it will determine the objects, good and bad or something. We can also say adhimaka means freedom of thoughts. Viriya, energy, has the characteristic of exertion. We have already know that. Right? Sati, mindfulness is the characteristic of remembering. Or we can also say like a very firm perception. Then ubekha, equanimity, has the characteristic of balance. Okay, here in the case of ubekha, we can also say like a tatara machatata, ever evenness. The manasikara, attention, has the characteristic of focusing. Actually, these are the conditions according to the commentary. So that is why when I talk about sati, repeating sati 2 times, right? Then I also a little bit suspect there will be another part, for example, like a viriya. Right? So in the case of system mentality, according to Anupada Sutta mentioned, right? It just mentioned like sati, samajanya, chitakakata, passa, vedana, sanya, chirana, chitta, chanda, adhimaka, viriya, after the sati, right? Ubekha, manasikara. So here we have some other mentality here mentioned, right? PT, right? It has mentioned PT, right? So I think instead of sati, we can say like a PT also possible. That's what I suspect, right? Anyway, we already talked about it, so we should not say many different things about it, okay? So we have already learned according to, okay, all the things, this out 16 are according to the commentary. Okay, now we have to go another part. That is apprehension, viriya, and sati cover saddha, panya, as they are the same as a faculty. Okay. This is according to the sub-commentary. The previous one is according to the commentary. So when we talk about viriya and sati, because these two I had already mentioned among the 16, right? So saddha and panya, they are also called controlling faculties. That is why Brahma Sariputta also can know saddha and panya. Apprehending sati cover 6 pairs of mental factors, kaya pasati, and so on, as they are totally blameless. So we have already talked about 6 pairs of mentalities before, especially when we talk about the mentalities. So, okay, there will be many different things about beautiful mentalities, right? Among the beautiful mentalities, there's also mentions Kaya Pasati, Chitta Pasati. Pasati means tranquility. So this is also one of the pair. We already mentioned this is the opposite of restlessness. Then again, we have Kaya Lahuda, Chitta Lahuda, lightness of mental body and consciousness. And the next one is the flexibility of body. Kaya Muruda, Chitta Muruda, the flexibility of mental body and flexibility of consciousness. The next is a wideness of mental body and wideness of consciousness. Kaya Kamanyata, Chitta Kamanyata. Then we have proficiency of mental body and proficiency of consciousness. Kaya Pagunyada, Chitta Pagunyada. Then we have the last part, rectitude of mental body and rectitude of consciousness. These are Kayu Chukata, Chitu Chukata. So these are called 6 pairs. They are blameless. Blameless means wholesome. So they will arise together whenever wholesome consciousness arises. Okay, the main thing is whenever sati arises, they will rise together with the sati. So Bhairava Satipatthana also can discern all these things. Again, Vijnana, jhana consciousness. Here in this case, which have already talked about it, Bhairava Satipatthana enter into jhana, emerging from jhana, it discern all jhana mentalities, one by one. So this also includes associated mental factors, non-greed, non-hatred. So this is from the sub-commentary. Okay. Now we have to summarize the first questions. Do we need to know all types of mentalities when we are going to practice? When we are going to overcome wrong view, which is, we are talking about purifications of view. So we have already mentioned anything about comparators, continuity comparators, synthesis comparators, also function comparators, or object comparators. If we can break down the comparators, we may have very strong perceptions of anicca, dukkha, anatta. For example, if we know the mental process, we can break down the series of mind moments, arising impressions. Then we can also know in detail. We can overcome the perceptions of permanent, because they arise in impression very rapidly. If we can break down the compactness of synthesis, that means in every single mind moment, many mental factors arise together. So here we have already talked about Anubhava Sutta. Whenever Satipatthana discern all types of mentalities in detail. But if we just go and read the Pali, it just mentioned only 16 types of mentalities. But if we go and study in commentary and sub-commentary, it mentioned very many things in detail. Whenever Satipatthana can know many other mentalities because they arise together. We cannot skip. Okay, if we give some simile, for example, when I say, okay, please bring me water. I just say, bring me water. Without cup, you cannot bring any water. There must be a container to bring water, right? Similarly, although we say consciousness, it will arise together with many other mentalities. If we know they are arising as a groove, as a groove, taking the same object, they are different function. We have very clear understanding of anatta, non-self. That is why if we can know all the mentalities in detail in every daily activities, then we can overcome wrong view. So whenever we talk about wrong view, we have to understand two different things. The first one is the first one comes from self or soul, everlasting entity. The second wrong view comes from the words. For example, the world is permanent or impermanent. Right? That's the end of the world or not. This kind of wrong view. But anyway, in the case of practice, we must overcome the wrong view. DHAMMA, purification of the view. If we can beautify our view, then there will be the next steps. We have to continue practicing cause-effect relationship. In today's topic, we have already explained 4 postures, clear comprehensions. Okay, one more thing for your understanding, for your information. I haven't explained many things about Mahāyāna Sutta in this class, but I have already talked about it in Paauk many years ago, maybe around 2012 or something. Then I have already mentioned there clear comprehension chapter and 4 postures in Kāyanupassana Satipatthana. It's not for beginners. So after understanding mind-produced materialities, we can practice 4 postures and clear comprehensions. That's why today I just introduce clear comprehension a little bit more in detail. Although I say more in detail, it can be very much in detail, right? But today I can just introduce very little part of clear comprehension. So in every single movement, we have to know 4 types of kaya. In Paauk traditions, okay, I just say Paauk tradition. We cannot say Paauk method, right? Because that method comes from Pali canons. We have one practice, carrying rupas and being carried rupas. In this part, mostly we talk about 4 postures and clear comprehensions. These are daily activities. When we are going to walk, then we must know the mind will produce the wind produces movement. So if we say another way, when elements predominant, mind produced materialities are carrying 4 types of kaya. We already mentioned 4 types of kaya, right? In the very beginning of this topic. So 4 kayas are being carried. Then mind produced materialities, when elements predominant, kalapas are carrying. So we have to know these 2 things, carrying rupas and being carried rupas. If we can know these 2, we can discern walking as a walking, sitting as a sitting, standing as a standing, lying down as a lying down. Not only that, as mentioned in clear comprehension, we have already mentioned, right? When we go aside, when we go ahead, when we come back, or when we look ahead, look aside, in any daily activities, it should be the same. So we have already known concrete rupas and unconcrete rupas. Concrete rupas are the object of vipassana. When we are going to contemplate as anicca, dukkha, anatta, it must be concrete rupas. But when we are going to discern mentalities, we will discern all types of rupas, concrete materialities or inconcrete materialities. Okay, one more thing. I have already mentioned concrete rupas are the object of vipassana. Now, when we are carrying, right, when we are moving, this is body intimation. Body intimation is unconcrete rupas or non-concrete rupas. we cannot say as anicca, dukkha, anatta. Of course, if we can know nama rupas in detail, clearly, I have already mentioned 5 gates, ayana, basis, patthana, we can decide anicca, dukkha, anatta. That is why we have to understand Vipassana is not that simple as people thought, as people understood. Vipassana is very deep and profound. So if we are going to overcome wrong view, we have to know all types of mentalities in every single mind moment as a process. Then also we have to know the cause of a relationship in every single mind moment. Now we can also have to know 5 gates, 12 bases, 80 elements in every single mind moment. In this way, we can overcome wrong view. We can purify our view. This is the practice taught by the Buddha. Okay, so I will stop here. Today we just finished the purifications of view. So next time we have to continue talking about the next steps, purifications of overcoming doubt. It will take a longer time, I expect it, because we have to say many different things. Anyway, the deeper we can understand Buddha teaching, the stronger confidence we may have. It's also important to have stronger confidence. Sometimes our confidence comes from our practice. So if we can practice well, our confidence becomes stronger. So learning and practicing should be together. Our practice should not be very far from the learning knowledge. Similarly, our learning knowledge must be for our practice. May you all be able to practice as taught by the Buddha, and may you all be able to realize the final cessation and not suffering.
Thank you, Sayadaw. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Sayadaw, may we proceed to the Q&A session?
Okay.
Yeah. Dear participants, you may send your questions to the Zoom chat, or you may raise your hand if you have any question. Sayadaw, we will first read the questions sent in by the participants and also take questions from the floor.
Okay.
The first question, dear Sayadaw, in some meditation centers, during walking meditation, yogis are taught to be mindful all the details of the leg movement, lifting, moving forward, lowering down, etc. Is this also part of what Sayadaw explained today regarding the going forward and coming back? Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Yes, you have already mentioned lifting, movement forwards or lowering down, all the things, right? Because of find similar teaching in Rupasattaka practice. So in this case, we must know all the mentalities and materialities, right? Not only legs, we have to know all the materialities. So this is also called going forwards and coming back, or every movement. Sure. Okay, next one.
Question 2. Dear Sayadaw, when discerning mentality and materiality, if a meditator cannot discern or understand some of the mentality or materiality, can he proceed with his practice to the next stage, or he must try to discern all before he can move on? Second question, is it necessary to discern materiality first before one can proceed to mentality? Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Okay. Actually, in the very beginning of topic, I always say sabbam, right? Sabbam means every, right? Sabbam bhikkhave anabhijanam. Anabhijanam means not knowing, not comprehending all types of mentalities or materialities. We're going to make end of suffering. Already mentioned in the very beginning, right? That's why I put that one in the very beginning. So we must know all types of mentalities according to the process. Okay, another thing, all types means it depends on your daily life and your practice. For example, when you can take jhana, you can discern jhana mentalities. And this is also important. For example, what about materialities? I have already mentioned we must understand all types of materialities. What about Rupa Parikaha, discerning materialities, right? So without understanding, we cannot make any suffering. This is very important. It's necessary. Okay, another second question. Okay, also, so in the first question, as I mentioned, without understanding, we're going to move to the next stage. Okay, it's necessary to discern materialities first before we can proceed to mentality. It depends. For example, for those who cannot attain jhana, they must discern materiality first, or rather they can proceed to discerning mentality. This is a compulsory. For jhana practitioners, they can start from mentalities, or rather they can proceed discerning materialities. It can be different options for different practitioners. For samatha practitioners, for jhana practitioners, they can choose either one. They can start with mentalities or materialities. For samatha practitioners, for only pure upasana vehicle, only they can start with only materialities. Okay, so this is necessary to discern both of them. Okay, next one.
Question 3. Dear Sayadaw, what is the difference between sanya and panya? Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Okay, sanya means just marking. Okay, for example, you can memorize many things. Okay, you can remember many things. It can be sanya. For about panya, you can analyze all the things you understand or you have learned. This is called panya. Okay, so panya can know everything in detail. Sanya cannot know in detail, but can remember many things. Okay.
Interpreter here, Bante.
Dear Sayadaw, discernment of nama, is it a type of feeling or a type of sensation?
Nama?
Discerning nama, is it a type of sensation?
Actually, this is a misunderstanding, right? When we say nama, I have already listed out what Venerable Sariputta discerns. These all are called nama, not only sensation. Okay, sensation can be, for example, okay, when we touch something, when we feel something, right? This is a earth element touch, earth element, we can say, right? This is a rupa, we can say, right? So there may be bodily base, there will be tangible objects, there will be body consciousness, and also associated mental factors. So there are many things to note about sensations. In this case, sensation alone cannot say nama. Okay. Next one.
Question 5. Dear Sayadaw, verbal intimation and bodily intimation are very vague. How to help one to understand them? Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Okay, it will be a little bit difficult for beginners. Okay, and we'll talk about, I have already explained about body intimation, right? Body intimation, when we move, then this is called body intimation, already mentioned, right? Okay, now for about bhava intimation. When we are going to speak something, there are earth elements predominant, Tilijarupas, arises in our vocal cords. There's also the earth element predominant, Kama Broju materialities. The Kama Broju materialities and 9 Broju materialities strike together and it produces the sound, right? So that means, actually, they don't have any specific materialities for it. This comes from Kamaja Kalapas and Tirja Kalapas, right? But because of the tone, the voice, people can know our inner desire. If we can say softly, or if we can say a little bit roughly, it depends on our voice, our tone. People can understand our inner desire, right? That is why we call bhava intimation is also like unreal rupa, unconcrete rupa, right? So they are not the object of vipassana. Similarly, body intimations is also moving forward. For example, okay, when we shake our heads, we say no, right? When we know our head, we say yes. People can know our inner desire. But this also, I already mentioned, mind produces materialities, right? So the main thing is mind produces materialities. They just bring actually. Now, all other 4 types of kayas are also just being carried. They have different grouping already, but a combination of all these things can be considered as body intimation, right? All the things come from different types of materialities. That's why we cannot discern as anicca, dukkha, anatta. Okay? So it will be a little bit difficult for beginners, right? But anyway, when you are going to practice, you must discern all the things. Okay, another one.
Question 6. Dear Sayadaw, when should one practice Anupada method? What are the benefits of practicing this detailed way? Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Actually, we can do Anupada methods in any conditions, but in Paauk we just teach only for advanced meditators. That means those who already practice like a Banganyana or something, then we may encourage them to practice Anupada Vipassana. It will be easier, right? So by discerning in detail, then we can also discern Nama clearer. Also more in detail, then we can also find which one is easier for us, right? We can also know clear Nama Rupas. Actually, there are many benefits of practicing Anupada Vipassana. Okay, then another thing.
Yes, sometime in the daytime, he can feel that his nostril around the nose there were bright light, but at night it becomes dim. However, according to the light of wisdom, this brightness should not be interfered by the external light. So how to explain this?
Okay. Actually, at night, you must be more patient. If you are impatient, you're going to see the light clearly or easily, right? So, but in the daytime, you have external lights, that's why it will be brighter for you. But anyway, as long as you don't think about the light too much, it will be good enough. Sometimes you may follow external light too much. It will be to start by external lights. Just keep knowing your own objects. There can be brightness naturally. It can be the same day or night. It will be easier for you to improve. Okay.
Question 8. Dear Sayadaw, please Sayadaw advise. In this world, what are the things that we need and can categorize or analyze based on characteristics, functions, manifestations, and proximate causes? Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Okay, so in this case, we have all types of utilities, all types of mentalities, also different originations. Then all the things are actually the object of vipassana, especially when we are going to practice Namarupa discernment. In Pali, we call Namarupa Parikaha. Namarupa Parikaha means discerning mentalities and materialities, right? Every time we have to do all the things, right? How I mentioned, all types of consciousness, mentality, all types of metaphetas, also all types of materialities, also all types of different origination factors. We must know, or we must analyze them as characteristics, function, manifestation, and proximate causes. Okay.
Dear Sayadaw, Mandami Sayadaw, in the Iriyapada, the 4 posture Samajanya practice, must one enter into jhana, then only can practice this method?
Only jhana? Actually,
means in the practice of Iriyapada, the 4 posture Samajanya, must one enter into jhana, then only can practice?
Actually, it doesn't mean only by jhana. For those who have already discerned 4 types of kaya, I already mentioned in the very beginning of the topic today's talk. right? They can discern the four postures and clear comprehensions. For example, those who does not attain jhana, they may have samatha yanika, vipassana yanika, vipassana bhigo, then they don't attain jhana, right? But they have discerned four types of kaya. It's also possible for them to practice four postures and clear comprehensions. Okay, the next one.
Dear Sayadaw, how to be sure the discernment of nama and rupa is really done as it is, or it is imagination of himself? How to differentiate these two?
Okay, so that means if you're trying to create something, you may feel discomfort. Nowadays, if you create something, you're going to maintain very long time. If you discern naturally, but you can discern whole sitting, whole day, whole night, right? So don't create anything. It should be just natural. It will be easier.
Are there any more questions from the floor?
Okay, now no electricity.
Dear Sayadaw, there is no more questions. Shall we proceed to close today's session?
Okay.
Sadhu, 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 Sayadaw. Thank you very much for your teachings today. And thank you, our interpreter Bantes, for the translation. May we invite Sayadaw to lead us in making aspirations and sharing of merits.
Okay. Etavadacha ammehi sambadam bunya sambadam sabbe deva numodandu sabbe buddha numodandu sabbe satta numodandu sabba sambati siddhya idame nyatinam hodu sukhita hondu nyadayo idame nyatinam hodu sukhita hondu nyadayo idame nyatinam hodu sukhita hondu nyadayo idame bunyam asawakaya waham hodu idame bunyam nibbanasa bhajayo hodu mama bunya bhagam sabba sadanam bhajemi te sabbe me samam bunya bhagam labandu. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Thank you, Sayadaw, and everyone for your time and participation. Till we meet on next Saturday, may all be well and happy. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.